Bushcraft Basics, a modern survival guide for the wilderness. Introduction, the art of bushcraft and modern survival. Bushcraft is more than just a set of survival skills. It's an ancient art that connects us to nature, fostering self-reliance and resilience in the wilderness. In a world dominated by modern conveniences, bushcraft teaches us to thrive using only the resources around us, blending traditional wisdom with practical, hands-on techniques. Whether you're a seasoned adventurer or a complete beginner, learning these skills can transform how you interact with the natural world. This book, Bushcraft Basics, a modern survival guide for the wilderness, is designed to equip you with essential bushcraft skills that can be applied in any outdoor setting, from remote forests to your own backyard. You'll learn how to build a fire in a downpour, craft a shelter from nothing but branches and leaves, and identify wild foods that can sustain you when conventional supplies run out. These are not just survival techniques. They're skills that empower you to confidently face the unpredictable and embrace a more self-sufficient lifestyle. Bushcraft isn't just about preparing for emergencies, it's about reconnecting with the land and understanding the delicate balance between human needs and nature's offerings. Throughout this guide, you'll discover how to observe the world around you, read the signs of the weather, and move through the wild with the awareness and respect that ancient cultures mastered. You'll learn to see the environment not as an adversary, but as a partner in your journey. Whether you're planning a weekend camping trip or dreaming of living off-grid, this book will provide you with the knowledge and skills to handle the wilderness with confidence. We'll start with the fundamentals, how to start a fire, build a shelter, and find water, and then delve into more advanced topics like foraging, hunting, and first aid. Each chapter builds on the last, turning theory into practice and giving you the tools you need to not just survive but thrive. So grab your knife, open your mind, and get ready to embark on a journey into the heart of bushcraft. The wilderness is waiting, and with the right skills, it can be your home, your teacher, and your sanctuary. Welcome to the world of bushcraft, where every skill mastered is a step towards true independence and adventure. Chapter 1. Mastering Firecraft, the heart of bushcraft. Fire is the cornerstone of survival. It's more than just a tool for warmth, it's a source of comfort, protection, and a symbol of human ingenuity. Mastering the art of firecraft is often considered the first and most essential skill in bushcraft because fire sustains us in ways that go beyond the physical. It cooks our food, purifies our water, keeps predators at bay, and even lifts our spirits during the darkest nights. However, starting a fire isn't always as simple as striking a match. Out in the wild, conditions are rarely perfect, and you'll often find yourself battling damp wood, strong winds, or a lack of obvious resources. That's why understanding the principles behind firemaking is crucial. It's not just about having the right tools, it's about knowing how to use whatever you have at hand, adapting to the environment, and thinking creatively when things don't go as planned. The basics of fire: tinder, kindling, and fuel. To start a fire, you need three main components: tinder, kindling, and fuel. Each serves a different purpose, and knowing how to source and prepare them is key. Tinder is your initial spark, finely textured material that catches easily and burns quickly. Think of it as the delicate kindling that gets everything else going. In the wild, dry grass, birch bark, pine needles, and even pocket lint can make excellent tinder. The goal is to gather materials that are bone dry and capable of igniting with the slightest spark. Kindling consists of small twigs and sticks that catch flame from your tinder. It's slightly larger and burns longer, acting as the bridge between your tinder and the larger fuel wood. Good kindling is no thicker than your thumb and should snap easily. If it bends rather than breaks, it's likely too wet to burn efficiently. Fuel is what sustains your fire once it's established. This includes larger logs and branches that burn slowly and provide the heat and longevity needed for cooking or staying warm through the night. Always collect more fuel than you think you'll need. A well-stocked fire keeps you from scrambling for wood in the dark or rain. Fire starting techniques, from modern to primitive. There are countless ways to start a fire, and each method has its advantages depending on the resources at your disposal. Here we'll cover some of the most reliable techniques, ranging from easy modern methods to more challenging primitive skills that can save the day when you have nothing but your wits. 1. Matches and lighters. These are the most straightforward tools for fire starting and should be in every survival kit. However, they are also prone to failure in wet or windy conditions, so always carry backups and store them in waterproof containers. 2. Flint and steel. A classic bushcraft method, flint and steel create sparks when struck together. The key is to direct these sparks onto a fine tinder bundle, which will catch and start smoldering. This technique requires practice but is highly reliable once mastered, even in less than ideal weather. 3. Fire steel. Ferro rod fire steels are modern versions of flint and steel that produce a shower of sparks when scraped with a metal striker. They work in all conditions, including rain and snow, making them an excellent addition to your fire-starting arsenal. 4. Bow drill. One of the most iconic primitive methods, the bow drill uses friction to create an ember. While challenging, it's a valuable skill to learn as it relies entirely on natural materials. With a little patience and practice, you'll be able to start a fire using nothing more than wood, string, and a bit of determination. 5. Solar fire starting. Using a magnifying glass or the lens from a pair of binoculars, you can harness the sun's rays to ignite tinder. This method is free, sustainable, and surprisingly effective on sunny days, but remember it's completely dependent on weather conditions. Maintaining and controlling your fire. Starting a fire is one thing, but maintaining it, especially in changing weather conditions, is an entirely different challenge. Wind can fan your flames too fiercely or extinguish them altogether, while rain can dampen your fuel and make it impossible to keep the fire going. A windbreaks and reflectors. Use rocks, logs, or a trench to shield your fire from wind and help contain heat. Creating a simple windbreak can make the difference between a roaring fire and one that constantly struggles to stay alive. Building fire lays. The structure of your fire lay, the arrangement of your tinder, kindling, and fuel, can greatly impact how efficiently it burns. The teepee lay is great for quick ignition, while the log cabin lay provides a long, steady burn. Experiment with different setups to find what works best for your needs. Damp and wet conditions. In rainy weather, look for dry wood under dense tree canopies, fallen logs, or even carry dry tinder in a waterproof pouch as part of your kit. Use smaller, drier kindling to build up heat before adding larger, damp logs. Remember, perseverance is key. Sometimes it's all about nurturing even the smallest ember until it catches. Fire safety. Respect the power of flames. While fire is a crucial survival tool, it can quickly become dangerous if not handled with respect. Always clear the area around your fire to prevent it from spreading, and never leave a fire unattended. When extinguishing, drown the flames thoroughly with water, stir the ashes, and repeat until the ground is cool to the touch. A responsible bushcrafter leaves no trace, ensuring that the environment is left just as wild and beautiful as it was found. Mastering firecraft is not just about survival, it's about building a fundamental connection with nature. There's a profound sense of accomplishment in striking that first spark and watching it grow into a life-sustaining flame. With the skills you'll learn in this chapter, you'll be ready to harness the power of fire anywhere, anytime, no matter the challenges that lie ahead. Chapter 2. Shelter building, protecting yourself from the elements. Shelter is one of the most critical aspects of bushcraft, providing safety, warmth, and a sense of security in the wilderness. In the wild, exposure to the elements can quickly turn from uncomfortable to life-threatening, making the ability to construct a reliable shelter a vital skill. A well-built shelter does more than keep you dry. It insulates you from cold ground, shields you from wind and rain, and creates a safe space where you can rest, recover, and regain your energy for the challenges ahead. Choosing the right location for your shelter. The first step in building an effective shelter is choosing the right location. This decision is as crucial as the structure itself. A poor choice of location can expose you to environmental hazards such as flooding, falling branches, or unwelcome wildlife encounters. When selecting your site, look for level ground that is elevated enough to avoid water runoff during rain. Avoid low-lying areas like riverbanks or valleys where cold air and moisture tend to settle overnight, creating damp and uncomfortable conditions. Pay attention to your surroundings. Wind direction, the position of the sun, and natural features like large rocks or tree clusters can all impact how your shelter performs. Using natural windbreaks like thick bushes, fallen logs, or boulders can protect your shelter from harsh winds. Additionally, look up, hanging dead branches, also known as widowmakers, pose a serious risk. Never set up camp under dead trees or loose branches that could fall during a storm. Types of primitive shelters: lean-tos, debris huts, and A-frames. There are many types of primitive shelters you can build with natural materials, each suited to different environments and conditions. The simplicity and effectiveness of these designs have been proven over centuries, and with a bit of practice, you can adapt them to any wilderness setting. A lean-to shelter is one of the simplest and quickest to construct, ideal for short-term stays or emergencies. It consists of a basic frame made from a ridgepole supported by two strong branches, with smaller sticks leaned against the ridgepole at an angle. Cover the slanted side with layers of branches, leaves, and debris to create a barrier against wind and rain. The open side of the shelter allows you to position a fire for warmth, with the slanted roof reflecting heat back towards you. The debris hut is perfect for colder conditions when insulation is paramount. This shelter is fully enclosed, resembling a small, natural cocoon that traps your body heat. Start by creating a simple frame with a strong central ridgepole, supported by 2 forked sticks. Add ribs along the sides using sturdy branches, and then pile on layers of debris, leaves, grass, moss and ferns, until your shelter is completely covered. Aim for at least a foot of insulation to keep the cold out. Crawling into a debris hut feels like entering a snug nest. It's not spacious, but it's incredibly warm. An A-frame shelter offers a bit more space and stability, making it a good option for longer stays. Constructed with a triangular frame, the A-frame's design sheds water effectively and provides better protection against wind from multiple directions. Use sturdy branches to build the structure and cover it with thick layers of debris for insulation. This shelter allows you to stretch out and store gear inside, making it a practical choice for a multi-night camp. Using natural materials versus modern tools. One of the greatest advantages of bushcraft shelters is their adaptability. You can build them entirely from natural materials, or you can enhance them with modern tools like tarps, paracord, and lightweight poles. Using natural resources connects you to the environment and teaches you to work with what's available, but adding a tarp or emergency blanket to your shelter can significantly improve its weather resistance and comfort. When using modern tools, a simple tarp shelter can be incredibly versatile. A tarp can be set up quickly as a lean-to, an A-frame, or even a hammock cover, providing a waterproof barrier that is easy to adjust depending on weather conditions. Pairing a tarp with natural insulation like leaves and pine boughs creates a hybrid shelter that blends the best of old and new techniques. Secure tarps with paracord or any sturdy rope, and practice different knots such as the taut line hitch or the bowline, which are essential for creating tension and stability in your shelter setup. Insulating your shelter, staying warm and dry. Insulation is critical in any shelter. Even the sturdiest structure won't keep you warm if it lacks proper insulation against the cold ground and air. Nature provides a wealth of materials for insulation. Dry leaves, pine needles, grasses, and moss all work well when piled thickly. Insulating the floor of your shelter is just as important as the walls and roof. A thick bed of leaves or evergreen boughs will keep you off the cold ground, preventing heat loss through conduction and creating a much more comfortable sleeping surface. In colder conditions, you can also dig a trench in the shelter floor and line it with hot rocks from your fire. This technique, known as the rock bed, can provide gentle, radiant heat throughout the night, keeping your shelter warm even after the fire has died down. Always ensure the rocks are not from a river or other wet areas, as they can explode when heated. Adapting your shelter for different weather conditions. Weather is one of the most unpredictable elements you'll face in the wild, and your shelter needs to be adaptable. In heavy rain, ensure your shelter has a steep enough angle to shed water away from your sleeping area. If snow is a concern, construct a more robust frame to support the extra weight, and consider digging into the snow to create a snow cave or a quinzee, a dome-shaped snow shelter that insulates remarkably well. In hot climates, the focus shifts to ventilation and shade. Build your shelter with an open design that allows air to flow freely, reducing the risk of overheating. Use lighter, reflective materials when available, and position your shelter to maximize shade during the hottest parts of the day. A raised platform can help keep you cool and protect you from ground-dwelling insects. Shelter maintenance, keeping your space safe. Once your shelter is built, maintaining it is just as important. Regularly check your structure for signs of wear or damage, especially after storms or high winds. Reinforce weak points with additional branches or rope, and clear any debris that could block entrances or cause tripping hazards. If using a fire near your shelter, keep it small and manageable, ensuring flames and sparks are always contained. Shelter maintenance also means staying mindful of hygiene. Clear out any food scraps or waste to avoid attracting wildlife, and periodically refresh the insulating materials to keep your sleeping area clean and pest-free. A well-maintained shelter is not just about comfort, it's about safety and ensuring that your wilderness home continues to serve you well. Embracing the shelter building experience. Building a shelter in the wild is more than a survival necessity, it's a deeply rewarding experience that connects you to the land. Each branch you place, each layer of leaves you add, is a step towards creating a personal sanctuary carved from nature itself. There's a unique satisfaction in stepping back and admiring a shelter that you've crafted with your own hands, knowing that it stands as a testament to your ingenuity and resourcefulness. Shelter building teaches patience, problem-solving, and adaptability, skills that are invaluable not just in the wilderness, but in everyday life. Whether you're setting up a quick refuge for the night or constructing a more elaborate structure for an extended stay, the process will deepen your appreciation for the delicate balance between human need and the natural world. As you master these techniques, you'll discover that shelter building is more than a survival skill. It's an art form that blends creativity, knowledge, and respect for the environment. Chapter 3. Water Sourcing and Purification. Ensuring safe hydration. Water is the lifeblood of survival, more critical than food and second only to air in terms of immediate necessity. The human body can endure weeks without food but only days without water. Dehydration in the wilderness can quickly sap your strength, impair judgment, and escalate minor challenges into life-threatening emergencies. Mastering the skills to find, collect, and purify water in the wild is therefore not just a practical necessity but a cornerstone of self-reliance in bushcraft. Finding water in the wilderness. Sources and strategies. The first challenge in securing water in the wilderness is knowing where to find it. Nature offers a variety of water sources, but not all are immediately obvious or safe to drink. Streams, rivers, lakes, and ponds are the most apparent choices, but even these come with their own set of considerations. Moving water, such as rivers and streams, is generally safer than stagnant water because it is less likely to harbor harmful bacteria and parasites. When possible, collect water from the clearest, fastest-moving section of a stream, ideally upstream and away from any signs of animal activity or human contamination. When obvious water sources aren't available, you'll need to get creative. Look to the landscape for clues, follow valleys and low-lying areas where water naturally collects, or search for green, lush vegetation that indicates nearby moisture. Early morning dew can be harvested from grass and leaves using a cloth or absorbent material, wringing it out into a container. Rain is another valuable resource. By setting up a tarp or wide-leafed branches to catch rainfall, you can quickly gather a clean and reliable supply. Snow and ice, common in colder climates, offer a clear water source but must be managed carefully. Always melt snow or ice before drinking to avoid lowering your core body temperature, which can lead to hypothermia. Remember that clear, blue ice is preferable to white, snow-packed ice, as it contains more water and is less likely to harbor impurities. Purification methods. Making water safe to drink. Finding water is only half the battle. Even the clearest stream can harbor dangerous pathogens like Giardia, Cryptosporidium, and E. coli, which can cause severe gastrointestinal distress, dehydration, and illness. Purification is essential to making water safe to drink, and there are several methods to achieve this, each with its pros and cons. Boiling is one of the most reliable purification methods, effectively killing bacteria, viruses, and parasites with just a few minutes of heat. To boil water, bring it to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute at sea level, or 3 minutes at higher altitudes where the boiling point is lower. Boiling is simple and effective, but it requires a heat source and a container capable of withstanding high temperatures, which isn't always available. Filtration is another popular method, particularly when you have access to portable water filters designed specifically for wilderness use. These filters use microfiltration technology to remove harmful pathogens, sediment, and even some chemical pollutants. Many filters are lightweight, easy to use, and effective at providing clean water on the go, making them a great addition to any survival kit. However, filters can clog or break, so it's important to maintain them properly and carry backups like purification tablets or a second method. Chemical treatments such as iodine or chlorine dioxide tablets are also effective for killing harmful organisms. These tablets are lightweight, easy to carry, and straightforward to use. Simply drop the tablet into your water container, wait the specified amount of time, usually 30 minutes to an hour, and your water is safe to drink. While highly effective, some chemical treatments can leave an unpleasant taste and are less effective against certain parasites, so they are best used in combination with other methods when possible. Solar purification or solar disinfection (SODIs) is an innovative and low-tech method that utilizes the sun's UV rays to kill pathogens. To purify water using this method, fill a clear plastic bottle with water, and leave it exposed to direct sunlight for at least 6 hours. The UV rays work to disinfect the water, making it safe to drink. While SODIs is a great backup option when other methods are unavailable, it requires clear weather and can be time-consuming. Storing water safely, keeping your supply fresh. Once purified, storing water safely becomes the next priority. Contaminated containers can reintroduce pathogens, undoing all your efforts. Always ensure your storage containers are clean and if possible, disinfect them before use. Metal bottles, collapsible water pouches, or any sturdy food-grade plastic containers are excellent choices for keeping your water safe. If you're staying in one place for an extended period, consider creating a basic filtration system using sand, charcoal, and gravel to continuously filter and store larger amounts of water for camp use. In long-term survival situations, you can also construct natural cisterns or diggy wells near water sources. These shallow wells, dug close to lakes or rivers, allow water to seep through sand and gravel, acting as a natural filter before collecting in your pit. Always purify the water from these sources before drinking, but they can serve as a low-maintenance, ongoing water source with regular maintenance. Recognizing contaminated water. What to avoid. Not all water is safe no matter how clear or inviting it appears. Recognizing contaminated water is a critical skill that can protect you from serious illness. Avoid water that appears cloudy, has an unusual color, or carries an odor. These can all be signs of chemical pollutants or decaying organic matter. Foam, algae blooms, or oily sheens on the surface are also clear indicators of contamination, often signaling agricultural runoff or industrial waste that no amount of simple purification can make safe. If animals are drinking from a source, that's generally a positive sign, but not a guarantee. Wild animals have stronger immune systems against local pathogens, and they often drink from sources that would make humans sick. Be particularly wary of water sources near heavy animal traffic, as they can carry fecal contamination. In arid environments, water that collects in rock crevices or underground springs can appear pristine but may still harbor unseen threats. When in doubt, always purify. Even a few drops of untreated water can introduce harmful microorganisms into your system. The psychology of thirst, staying hydrated under stress. The stress of wilderness survival can amplify the effects of dehydration, making it vital to stay ahead of your body's needs. Physical exertion, extreme temperatures, and high altitudes all increase water loss, often faster than you realize. By the time you feel thirsty, dehydration has already set in, affecting your ability to think clearly, regulate body temperature, and maintain stamina. Drink water regularly, even when you're not actively thirsty, and adjust your intake based on your environment and activity level. If water is scarce, rationing is sometimes necessary, but never to the point of severe dehydration. Learning to manage your water resources wisely and proactively searching for new sources is the best way to keep your body functioning optimally in challenging conditions. Respecting water, the lifeblood of survival. Water is not just a resource, it's a fundamental element of life that demands respect. In survival situations, each drop becomes precious, and learning to find, purify, and manage water connects you intimately to the natural world. Water flows through every aspect of bushcraft, from firemaking and cooking to shelter building and navigation, and understanding how to work with it can mean the difference between mere survival and true mastery of the wilderness. Every time you sip from a stream or gather rain in a carefully positioned tarp, you're engaging in an age-old dance with nature, tapping into a skill that has sustained humans for millennia. Water is both a gift and a challenge, a constant reminder of our dependence on the environment and the importance of knowledge, preparation, and adaptability. As you hone your skills, you'll find that water not only quenches your thirst but also fuels your journey, guiding you safely through the wild places of the world. Chapter 4. Wild Food Foraging, Identifying Edible Plants and Insects. Foraging is one of the most rewarding aspects of bushcraft, reconnecting us with the ancient practice of finding sustenance directly from the natural world. It's an art that requires knowledge, caution, and respect, as nature's bounty is both abundant and filled with potential dangers. Understanding how to identify and safely consume wild plants, berries, and insects can transform your wilderness experience from mere survival to a deeper, more harmonious way of living off the land. Foraging is not just about finding food, it's about observing your environment, learning to recognize nature's subtle signs, and developing a keen eye for what is edible, nutritious, and safe. The basics of foraging. Safety first. The most important rule of foraging is simple. Never consume anything unless you are absolutely certain of its identity. Misidentifying a plant can have serious, even fatal, consequences. Many edible plants have toxic lookalikes, and the differences can be subtle. Before you begin, equip yourself with a reliable field guide specific to the region you're exploring. Learning from a knowledgeable forager or taking a course can also provide invaluable hands-on experience, giving you the confidence to safely harvest wild edibles. Start by familiarizing yourself with common edible plants in your area, as well as those that are poisonous. Plants such as wild carrots, dandelions, and nettles are not only easy to recognize but are also nutrient-rich, offering a variety of vitamins and minerals. On the flip side, be wary of plants like hemlock or nightshade, which can be deadly even in small amounts. Always perform a thorough identification, checking multiple characteristics like leaves, stems, flowers, and overall plant shape. If you're unsure, it's best to leave it alone. When foraging, consider the broader environment as well. Avoid collecting plants from areas near roads, industrial sites, or any place where chemicals might have contaminated the soil or water. Plants growing in these conditions can absorb toxins, making them unsafe to eat even if they are technically edible. Edible plants, a natural pantry. The wilderness is rich with edible plants that can provide the calories, nutrients, and variety needed for a balanced diet. Greens such as dandelion leaves, plantain, and chickweed are often abundant and can be eaten raw or cooked. They are high in vitamins A and C as well as iron and calcium, making them excellent additions to any wild meal. Berries too offer a sweet and nutritious boost. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are not only delicious but packed with antioxidants and energy-boosting sugars. When harvesting berries, always ensure they are ripe and free from any mold or signs of rot. Wild strawberries, although smaller than their cultivated cousins, are incredibly sweet and make a delightful snack on the trail. Roots and tubers, like those of cattails or burdock, can be dug up and cooked to provide a starchy, filling component to your diet. Cattail roots, when roasted, offer a carbohydrate-rich food source that's often compared to potatoes. The young shoots of cattails can also be eaten raw or cooked, tasting somewhat like cucumber. Foraging for nuts can be highly rewarding, as they offer valuable fats and proteins. Acorns, for example, are plentiful in oak forests, and with proper preparation to remove tannins, they can be ground into flour or roasted as a snack. Walnuts, hazelnuts, and chestnuts are also excellent sources of calories and can be stored for long-term use. Identifying edible insects, a protein-rich resource. Insects are one of the most overlooked yet nutritionally rich food sources available in the wild. They are high in protein, healthy fats, and essential minerals, and they're often found in abundance. While the idea of eating insects may be unappealing to some, they have been a staple food in many cultures for centuries and are a crucial survival resource. Grasshoppers, crickets, and locusts are among the most commonly consumed insects and are relatively easy to catch. They can be eaten raw in an emergency, but cooking them is always recommended to kill any parasites and improve their flavor. Roasting them over an open flame or frying them in a pan makes for a crunchy, nutritious snack that can sustain you when other food sources are scarce. Ants and termites, though small, can provide quick bursts of energy due to their high fat content. They are often found under rocks, logs, or within the soil. While they can be eaten raw, briefly toasting them on a hot surface enhances their flavor and reduces any potential bitterness. For a more substantial insect meal, grubs and beetle larvae offer a soft, nutty taste and are packed with nutrients. They are usually found within rotting wood or just below the surface of damp soil. When foraging for insects, always be mindful of potential allergens. While most insects are safe to eat, some individuals may have allergic reactions, especially to those closely related to shellfish like crickets or mealworms. As with plants, proper identification is key, and it's best to avoid brightly colored or hairy insects, as these are often indicators of toxicity. Foraging ethics, sustainability and respect. Foraging is not just a means of survival, it's an active engagement with nature, and with that comes a responsibility to tread lightly. Ethical foraging ensures that you are not only taking care of yourself but also preserving the environment for future generations. Always practice sustainable harvesting by taking only what you need and leaving enough for the plants and wildlife that depend on those resources. When harvesting plants, avoid uprooting the entire plant unless it's absolutely necessary. Instead, take only the parts you need, like leaves, flowers, or fruit, and allow the plant to continue growing. This practice ensures the plant's survival and helps maintain the local ecosystem's balance. Avoid foraging rare or endangered plants, and never take more than a small percentage of what's available. Insects, too, play vital roles in their ecosystems, from pollination to breaking down organic matter. Harvest selectively, and never take from populations that appear sparse or struggling. Respect private property and protected areas. Many parks and nature reserves have strict rules about foraging, and it's important to know and follow these guidelines. Your actions should always be guided by a deep respect for the land and an understanding of your role within it. Preparing and cooking foraged foods. Once you've gathered your wild edibles, preparation is the final step before enjoying your hard-earned meal. Many wild plants can be eaten raw, but cooking them often improves their flavor, texture, and digestibility. Simple cooking methods like boiling, steaming, or roasting can transform tough roots, bitter greens, or insects into more palatable and nourishing dishes. Cooking also has the added benefit of reducing or eliminating potential toxins found in some wild foods. For example, acorns need to be leached of their bitter tannins by soaking them in water, a process that can take several hours or days depending on the variety. Wild greens like nettles, which sting when raw, lose their sting when boiled, making them safe and enjoyable to eat. Experimenting with different preparation methods can turn your foraging into a culinary adventure. Try roasting wild nuts with herbs, sautéing greens in a bit of fat, or making a simple trail soup with edible roots and insects. The possibilities are limited only by your imagination and the resources you have on hand. Embracing foraging as a bushcraft skill. Foraging is more than just finding food, it's an intimate connection with the landscape, a skill that teaches patience, observation, and adaptability. As you learn to recognize edible plants and insects, you'll develop a deeper understanding of the ecosystems around you and the delicate balance that sustains them. Each successful forage becomes a reminder of our place in nature and the ancient knowledge that still lies within reach. Foraging offers a sense of freedom and self-sufficiency, allowing you to supplement your diet with fresh, natural ingredients while on the trail. It's an opportunity to slow down, explore, and appreciate the subtle offerings of the wild. Whether you're gathering a handful of berries, roasting a grasshopper, or savoring a wild green salad, each bite carries the flavors of the earth and the satisfaction of knowing you've provided for yourself. By mastering the art of foraging, you're not just enhancing your bushcraft skills, you're embracing a way of life that honors the land, celebrates resourcefulness, and deepens your connection to the natural world. It's a journey of discovery, one that turns every walk in the woods into an opportunity to learn, to sustain, and to thrive. Chapter 5. Trapping and hunting, securing protein in the wild. In the wilderness, securing a reliable source of protein can be the difference between survival and succumbing to hunger. While foraging provides vital nutrients and energy, the dense caloric value of meat is unmatched, offering essential proteins and fats that sustain strength, support muscle repair, and keep you fueled for the challenges ahead. Trapping and hunting are ancient skills that have been honed over millennia, requiring patience, keen observation, and an intimate understanding of animal behavior. These skills are not just about capturing prey, they are about learning to move silently, think strategically, and respect the delicate balance of predator and prey that governs the natural world. Understanding animal behavior. Reading the land. The key to successful trapping and hunting begins long before setting a trap or drawing a bow. It starts with learning to read the land, to observe the subtle signs that animals leave behind, and to understand their habits, movements, and needs. Every animal, from the smallest rodent to the largest game, leaves a trail of clues, tracks in the mud, broken branches, chewed leaves, and droppings that tell the story of their passage. Learning to recognize these signs is like learning a new language, a language spoken in the soft prints of a rabbit, the claw marks of a raccoon, or the scattered feathers of a bird. Animals follow routines dictated by their search for food, water, and shelter. They are creatures of habit, often following the same paths each day. Identifying these trails and patterns can guide you to prime locations for setting traps or lying in wait. Look for game trails, narrow, well-worn paths that animals use regularly. These trails often lead to water sources, feeding areas, or safe bedding spots, making them ideal locations to focus your efforts. The time of day also plays a crucial role. Many animals are most active at dawn and dusk, times known as the crepuscular hours when the light is low, and they feel safest. Understanding the rhythms of the forest helps you align your strategies with the natural behavior of your quarry, increasing your chances of success. Setting traps, patience and precision. Trapping is one of the most efficient ways to catch small game, allowing you to passively hunt while focusing on other survival tasks. A well-set trap works around the clock, quietly and tirelessly doing the work for you. However, success in trapping depends on careful placement, proper construction, and a deep understanding of your target animal's behavior. The variety of traps is vast, each designed to capture specific types of animals in specific environments. The simple snare, made from wire or cordage, is a classic and versatile trap that works well for small mammals like rabbits and squirrels. It relies on the animal's own movement to tighten the loop around its neck or leg, swiftly securing it. When setting snares, pay attention to the height and width of the trap, tailoring it to the size of the animal you're targeting. Placement is critical. Position the snare directly on a well-used game trail, ensuring it blends seamlessly with the surroundings. Deadfall traps, which use a heavy object like a log or rock to crush the prey, are another effective option for small to medium-sized animals. Constructing a deadfall requires a careful balance of trigger mechanisms, often involving sticks arranged in a delicate balance that collapses when the bait is disturbed. The Figure 4 deadfall is a classic design, requiring precision and patience to set up correctly. Deadfalls are highly effective but must be placed in locations where they can operate without interference, such as beneath natural cover where animals feel safe. For larger game, traps like the pitfall, a concealed hole lined with sharpened stakes, have been used historically but require significant effort and are best suited for longer-term survival scenarios. They demonstrate the power of traps not just as passive hunters but as strategic, landscape-altering tools that turn the environment itself into a part of your survival strategy. Hunting techniques: silent stalking and stealth. While trapping excels at catching smaller game, hunting is often necessary when targeting larger animals or when active pursuit is required. Hunting is as much an art of movement as it is of marksmanship. It demands stealth, patience, and an ability to become part of the environment, blending in so seamlessly that you become invisible to your prey. Stalking is one of the primary techniques used in hunting, particularly for deer and other large game. The goal is to move silently through the forest, minimizing noise and scent, and positioning yourself within range without alerting the animal. Every step must be deliberate, feet placed carefully to avoid snapping twigs, body posture kept low, and movements slow and controlled. Stalking is a dance of anticipation, requiring you to read the animal's body language, predicting its next move and adjusting your approach accordingly. Ambush hunting, by contrast, involves setting up in a strategic location and waiting for the animal to come to you. This technique often utilizes natural blinds, thickets, tall grasses, or tree stands that conceal your presence. Patience is crucial as you may need to sit motionless for hours, watching and waiting for the right moment to strike. The ambush method is less physically demanding than stalking but requires deep mental focus and the ability to remain still despite discomfort or changing weather conditions. In hunting, your tools are as varied as your methods. Bows, crossbows, and slingshots are favored by many bushcrafters for their silence and the skill required to master them. Each shot must be calculated, with a keen understanding of distance, wind, and the anatomy of your target. Firearms, while effective, are often loud and can spook other game, making them less ideal in a survival scenario where every opportunity counts. Processing game, field dressing, and meat preservation. Successfully catching an animal is only the beginning. The next step is processing the game to ensure that none of it goes to waste. Field dressing is the process of removing the internal organs of the animal as quickly as possible to prevent spoilage. This step is crucial in hot weather, where decomposition sets in rapidly. The process involves making careful incisions to open the body cavity, taking care not to puncture the intestines or stomach, which can taint the meat with bacteria. After gutting, the meat needs to be further processed. Skinning the animal is often the next step, peeling back the hide to reveal the flesh beneath. This process not only provides meat but also yields valuable materials. Hides can be tanned and used for clothing, shelter, or cordage, adding to your toolkit of survival resources. Preserving meat is an essential skill that extends the shelf life of your catch, ensuring that food is available when fresh game is scarce. Smoking, drying, and salting are traditional methods that can be performed even in primitive conditions. Smoking involves hanging the meat over a low fire, allowing the smoke to slowly cure and dry the flesh. This method not only preserves the meat but also infuses it with flavor, creating a portable and long-lasting food supply. Drying meat, or making jerky, is another popular preservation technique. Thin strips of meat are hung in the sun or over a fire, where the low heat gradually removes moisture, making it resistant to bacteria and mold. Salting, although more resource-intensive, draws out moisture and adds a layer of protection against spoilage. Each of these methods turns your catch into a long-term resource, ensuring that the effort of the hunt continues to feed you long after the initial kill. Ethics and respect in trapping and hunting. Hunting and trapping are not just physical skills, they are acts deeply intertwined with respect for the animals and the land. Ethical hunting means taking only what you need and striving for a quick, humane kill whenever possible. Every animal caught or hunted represents a life taken, and that act carries a responsibility to use the entire animal and minimize suffering. Be mindful of local regulations, hunting seasons, and protected species. While survival scenarios may call for different rules, maintaining respect for wildlife is fundamental. Avoid overtrapping in one area, which can deplete local populations and disrupt the ecosystem. The goal is to work within the natural balance, taking in a way that allows both you and the wildlife to thrive. Every time you set a snare, stalk a deer, or clean a rabbit, you are participating in a cycle as old as humanity itself. It's a humbling experience that fosters gratitude for the sustenance provided and a deeper connection to the rhythms of the natural world. Trapping and hunting, when done with skill and respect, are more than survival tactics. They are a means of engaging with the wilderness on its own terms, learning from it, and becoming part of its endless story. The art of survival through trapping and hunting. Trapping and hunting are skills that require patience, knowledge, and a willingness to learn from both success and failure. They are not just about securing food but about understanding the intricate web of life that surrounds you. Every track you follow, every trap you set, teaches you something new about the creatures that share the wilderness with you. These skills build confidence, teaching you to trust in your abilities and adapt to the ever-changing challenges of the wild. As you hone your trapping and hunting skills, you'll find that each catch is more than just a meal. It's a testament to your resilience, ingenuity, and respect for the natural world. Whether you're setting a snare along a quiet game trail or waiting in silent anticipation from a hidden blind, you are embracing the primal essence of bushcraft. Living in harmony with the land, taking only what you need, and finding your place within the vast, untamed wilderness. Chapter 6. Tool Crafting, Making and Using Primitive Tools. In the wilderness, tools are extensions of your will and creativity, amplifying your ability to shape the environment to meet your needs. The art of tool crafting, often overlooked in modern times, is an essential bushcraft skill that connects us to the ingenuity of our ancestors. When you find yourself in the wild, without the comforts of manufactured gear, the ability to create your own tools from natural materials can mean the difference between struggle and self-sufficiency. Crafting your own knife, axe, or rope is not just about survival. It's about embracing the resourcefulness that defines bushcraft and honing the skills that turn raw nature into useful implements. The essence of tool crafting: resourcefulness and ingenuity. Tool crafting is rooted in the principle of making do with what you have, transforming seemingly ordinary materials into functional, reliable tools. It's about observing the landscape and recognizing potential in the natural resources around you. Stones become sharp blades, branches transform into handles, and vines twist into sturdy ropes. This ability to improvise, adapt, and create is at the heart of bushcraft. It requires not only practical skill but also a mindset that sees every object as part of a larger toolkit, waiting to be repurposed. The process of tool crafting teaches patience and problem solving. Each step, from selecting the right materials to shaping, refining, and testing your creations, demands careful thought and hands-on effort. Unlike the instant gratification of store-bought tools, crafting your own requires time and perseverance. But the rewards go beyond the finished product. They lie in the deep satisfaction of using something you've made with your own hands, knowing it's perfectly suited to the task because you designed it that way. Stone tools: knives, axes, and blades. Stone tools are among the earliest and most fundamental human inventions, used for millennia to shape, cut, and manipulate other materials. Learning to craft a simple stone knife or axe reconnects you with ancient techniques that are still highly effective today. The key is in selecting the right kind of rock. Flint, chert, and obsidian are ideal for knapping, a process that involves striking the stone with another hard object, such as a hammerstone, to chip away flakes and create a sharp edge. Knapping is both an art and a science, requiring precise strikes to shape the stone without shattering it. The goal is to create a tool with a razor-sharp edge that can be used for cutting meat, carving wood, or even striking sparks for fire. Each flake removed must be carefully considered and every angle assessed. It's a process that demands focus and a steady hand, but the end result, a knife or spearhead that you've crafted from raw rock, is a powerful testament to human ingenuity. Axes and hatchets can be made by attaching a knapped stone head to a sturdy wooden handle. The process of hafting, or attaching the stone to the handle, involves creating a groove or notch in the stone and securing it with natural cordage, pitch, or sinew. This combination of materials results in a robust, versatile tool that can be used for chopping wood, building shelter, or defending against threats. Each swing of the axe becomes more than just a practical motion. It's a reminder of the resourcefulness that defines bushcraft. Woodworking, crafting handles, bows, and traps. Wood is one of the most versatile materials available in the wild, used for everything from tool handles to hunting weapons. The key to effective woodworking is understanding the properties of different types of wood. Some are strong and flexible, ideal for bow making, while others are dense and tough, perfect for handles and stakes. Selecting the right wood involves careful inspection. Look for straight grain, minimal knots, and the appropriate level of flexibility or rigidity needed for the task. Crafting a bow from a single piece of wood, known as a self-bow, is a classic example of bushcraft woodworking. It involves carving and shaping the wood to achieve a balanced curve, with limbs that store energy when drawn and release it smoothly when the arrow is fired. Each bow is unique, reflecting the characteristics of the wood and the skill of the craftsman. The process requires patience, as even a small mistake in the shaping can compromise the bow's performance. But when done right, a handmade bow becomes a powerful hunting tool, capable of taking down game and providing food for survival. Handles for knives, hatchets, and other tools can also be crafted from wood. A well-made handle should be comfortable in the hand, balanced, and strong enough to withstand the rigors of use. Carving handles involves careful shaping with knives or scrapers, smoothing rough edges, and fitting the handle securely to the tool head. The result is a custom-made tool that feels like an extension of your arm, perfectly tailored to your needs. Wood can also be used to craft traps for hunting small game. Spring-loaded traps, snares, and even simple fish spears can all be made from carefully selected branches and saplings. Understanding how to manipulate wood into these devices requires a blend of creativity and mechanical insight, allowing you to turn simple materials into effective, self-sustaining hunting systems. Rope and cordage making, strength from natural fibers. Cordage is an essential component of many bushcraft tools and techniques, used for lashing, binding, and constructing shelters. In a survival situation, being able to produce your own rope from natural fibers is an invaluable skill. Vines, bark, grasses, and even animal sinew can all be twisted, braided, or woven into strong, reliable cordage. The process of making rope begins with selecting and processing the raw materials. Fibers are stripped, cleaned, and often soaked to increase flexibility. Twisting or braiding the fibers together strengthens the cord, with each additional strand adding durability and resilience. The resulting cordage can be used for everything from bowstrings and fishing lines to binding poles and crafting snares. One of the most effective techniques is the reverse wrap, a method that twists fibers in opposite directions to create a tight, interlocking weave. This simple yet powerful method transforms fragile individual strands into a rope capable of bearing significant weight. The skill of cordage making is more than just practical. It's a meditation on patience and the ability to create strength from simplicity. Bone and antler, crafting with nature's leftovers. Bones and antlers, often overlooked, are exceptional materials for crafting tools. They are strong, durable, and can be shaped into a variety of useful items, from fishing hooks and needles to knife handles and awls. Bones can be found in the wilderness from animal remains or hunted game, providing a resource that not only honors the animal's life but also serves a vital function in your survival. Crafting with bone involves carving, grinding, and sometimes heating the material to shape it into the desired form. Antler, in particular, is prized for its hardness and workability, making excellent knife handles and tool parts. The process requires a blend of patience and skill, as bone is less forgiving than wood or stone. Sharp tools, careful planning, and a steady hand are essential for transforming these natural remnants into functional implements. The versatility of bone and antler extends to ornamentation as well. Beads, toggles, and decorative carvings can be made to personalize your gear, adding a touch of artistry to your survival kit. These items not only serve practical purposes but also carry symbolic weight, connecting you to the traditions of countless generations who have used these materials to sustain and express themselves. Maintaining and sharpening your tools. Once crafted, maintaining your tools is as important as making them. Sharpening stones, sand, and even rough surfaces can be used to hone blades, keeping them sharp and effective. Regular maintenance prevents wear and tear, ensuring that your tools remain reliable companions in the wild. Understanding how to repair and refine your tools as needed extends their lifespan and keeps you self-reliant. Sharpening a knife or axe involves creating the right angle on the blade, balancing sharpness with durability. It's a delicate process, requiring careful strokes to remove just enough material to renew the edge without weakening the blade. A well-sharpened tool makes every task easier, whether you're cutting firewood, preparing food, or crafting new tools. Caring for wooden handles, cordage, and other components is equally important. Regular inspection for signs of wear, cracks, or fraying can help you address issues before they become problems. Applying natural oils or waxes to wood protects it from the elements, keeping it strong and flexible. Every bit of care you put into your tools returns to you in their performance, ensuring that they are ready whenever you need them. The journey of tool crafting, more than just survival. Tool crafting is a journey that deepens your connection to the environment and enhances your ability to thrive in the wild. Each tool you create is a fusion of natural materials, human skill, and the drive to overcome challenges. It's an act of independence and creativity that turns the wilderness into a resource, rather than an obstacle. Crafting tools teaches you to see the world differently, to look at a pile of rocks and envision a sharp blade, or to see a fallen branch as the backbone of a new project. It's a skill that embodies the spirit of bushcraft, adaptive, hands-on, and deeply rooted in the knowledge that survival is not just about having the right gear but about making the most of what you have. Through tool crafting, you become more than just a passive participant in the natural world. You become an active creator, shaping your environment to support your needs and expressing a timeless connection to the land. Every knife, axe, or rope you make carries the imprint of your effort, skill, and creativity, turning the wilderness from a place of uncertainty into one of opportunity and self-reliance. Chapter 7: Navigation and Orientation, Finding Your Way Without GPS. Navigating through the wilderness without the aid of modern technology like GPS requires a set of skills that have been honed over thousands of years. Before satellites and digital maps, people relied on the sun, stars, natural landmarks, and simple tools like maps and compasses to find their way. In this chapter, we'll explore the foundational skills of orienteering, how to use natural navigation methods, and the importance of creating your own trail markers. We will also delve into how to avoid common mistakes that can turn a simple misdirection into a dangerous situation. Mastering these skills will not only help you find your way but also give you confidence and control in the most challenging environments. Map and compass skills, basic orienteering techniques. The map and compass are two of the most reliable navigation tools available, even in a world dominated by digital devices. Understanding how to use these tools effectively is essential for anyone venturing into unfamiliar territory. A compass shows direction, while a map provides a detailed representation of the landscape, complete with information on terrain, elevation, and natural features. When used together, they allow you to pinpoint your location, plan routes, and navigate safely. Learning to read a map begins with understanding its basic elements: the legend, scale, and contour lines. The legend explains the symbols used on the map, such as rivers, trails, and elevation changes. The scale shows the relationship between distances on the map and real-world measurements, helping you estimate travel times and distances accurately. Contour lines represent the shape and elevation of the terrain. Closely spaced lines indicate steep slopes, while widely spaced lines suggest flat or gently rolling areas. Using a compass starts with understanding the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. The compass needle always points toward magnetic north, which is slightly different from true north, geographic north. To navigate using a map and compass, you need to align the map with the compass by placing the compass on the map, orienting it to match the map's north, and then rotating both until the needle points to the top of the map. This alignment allows you to accurately transfer directions from the map to the real world. One of the key techniques in orienteering is triangulation, a method used to pinpoint your exact location by taking bearings to identifiable landmarks on the map. By measuring the direction to at least 2 known points and drawing lines along those directions on your map, the intersection of these lines reveals your position. This skill is invaluable when you are disoriented and need to re-establish your bearings. Navigating by sun, stars, and landmarks. Ancient methods for modern times. Long before maps and compasses, humans used the sun, stars, and natural landmarks to navigate vast landscapes. These ancient methods remain relevant, especially when technology fails. Learning to read the sky and landscape allows you to orient yourself in any environment, whether it's the dense forest, open desert, or vast mountain ranges. During the day, the sun is one of the most reliable guides. In the northern hemisphere, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, with its highest point in the sky around midday indicating south. A simple yet effective method to find direction is the shadow stick technique. Place a stick upright in the ground and mark the tip of its shadow with a small rock. Wait about 20 minutes and mark the tip of the shadow again. The line between these 2 points runs approximately west to east, with the first mark indicating west. At night, the stars offer guidance. The North Star, or Polaris, is a reliable indicator of true north in the northern hemisphere. To find it, locate the Big Dipper constellation, which looks like a ladle, and use the pointer stars at the edge of the Dipper's bowl to draw an imaginary line straight up to Polaris. In the southern hemisphere, there is no equivalent to Polaris, but the Southern Cross constellation can help find the general direction of south by extending its long axis down to the horizon. Landmarks such as distinct mountains, rivers, or unique rock formations serve as reference points. Always make mental or physical notes of these features as you travel, such as by noting their positions relative to your route. If you find yourself disoriented, returning to a known landmark can help you re-establish your bearings. Building landmarks and trail markers for safe travel. Creating your own trail markers and landmarks is an essential survival skill that aids navigation and ensures you can retrace your steps if necessary. Trail markers, or cairns, are piles of stones stacked in a deliberate manner to signal a specific route or location. These simple yet effective markers can guide you back to your starting point or serve as waypoints along a complex path. When building a trail marker, choose a spot that is visible and unlikely to be disturbed by wildlife or weather. Stack stones in a unique and easily recognizable pattern, such as 3 stones stacked vertically or an arrow shape pointing in your intended direction. In areas without rocks, use sticks, create notches on trees, or tie brightly colored fabric to branches. The key is to make the markers consistent and clear, ensuring they are easily distinguishable from natural formations. Trail markers are not just for yourself, they can also help others who might be traveling in the same area. Leave markers at key decision points, such as forks in a trail or near water sources, to guide future travelers. However, be mindful of the environment. Only use natural materials and avoid marking trees in ways that could harm them. In addition to physical markers, you can use natural features as temporary guides. For example, note the position of the sun or a distinctive tree at your starting point to help orient yourself on the return journey. This practice of building mental waypoints, combined with physical markers, creates a dual navigation system that greatly enhances your ability to travel safely in unfamiliar terrain. Avoiding common navigation mistakes. Staying calm when lost. Even the most experienced navigators can become disoriented, especially in challenging environments like dense forests, deserts, or during adverse weather conditions. The most critical aspect of managing these situations is staying calm and resisting the impulse to move hastily. Panicking can lead to poor decision-making and worsen the situation. The first step when you realize you're lost is to stop moving. The urge to keep walking, hoping to stumble upon something familiar, is strong but often counterproductive. Instead, take a moment to assess your surroundings and use the resources available, such as your map, compass, or knowledge of the landscape, to reorient yourself. If you're unable to determine your location, try to backtrack along your path using any trail markers or distinct features you remember. Reevaluate the environment around you by listening for distant sounds like running water, traffic, or animals, which might indicate human presence or natural landmarks. Check for visible changes in the landscape that can serve as clues, such as the direction of flowing water, which often leads to civilization. If conditions permit, consider creating a visible signal like a smoky fire or reflective surface to attract attention from rescuers. If you must move, do so slowly and deliberately, marking your path frequently to avoid going in circles. Travel in a straight line by choosing a distant landmark and walking directly toward it, adjusting as necessary but always mindful of your intended direction. Understanding and avoiding common navigation mistakes, such as ignoring terrain changes, underestimating travel times, or failing to backtrack, is essential for safe travel. By maintaining a calm mindset and employing your navigational skills, you can turn even a disorienting situation into a manageable challenge, ensuring you stay safe and on course. Navigation is more than just moving from point A to point B. It's about reading the environment, understanding natural cues, and using simple tools to guide your way. Whether using a compass and map, navigating by celestial bodies, or creating your own trail markers, these skills empower you to explore the world with confidence and self-reliance. Remember, getting lost is not the end, it's an opportunity to apply what you know, remain composed, and find your way back. Chapter 8. Bushcraft Cooking. Preparing meals without modern tools. Cooking in the wilderness is more than just a means of survival. It's an art that connects us to ancient traditions and the natural world. When separated from modern conveniences, preparing meals requires creativity, resourcefulness, and a thorough understanding of fire and natural ingredients. In this chapter, we'll explore the various methods of bushcraft cooking, from grilling over open flames to constructing primitive stone ovens. We will delve into ancient food preservation techniques such as smoking, drying, and salting, essential for extending the shelf life of your food. You'll also learn how to cook with wild ingredients using time-tested recipes and methods that transform simple foraged items into nourishing meals. Finally, we'll cover safe food handling practices in the wilderness to prevent foodborne illnesses, ensuring that your outdoor culinary experience is both enjoyable and safe. Cooking over open flames, grills, skewers, and stone ovens. One of the most fundamental skills in bushcraft cooking is mastering the art of cooking over an open flame. Fire is not just a source of heat, it's a tool that can be manipulated in many ways to cook food efficiently and enhance flavors. Whether you're grilling, skewering, or baking in a stone oven, understanding how to control and utilize fire is key. Grilling over an open flame is one of the simplest and most versatile cooking methods. To set up a basic grill, find a stable surface such as flat stones or a makeshift grill rack crafted from green sticks that won't burn easily. By placing these sticks or stones above the fire, you create a platform where food can be cooked evenly. Adjusting the height of your grill regulates the cooking temperature, closer to the flames for searing meats or higher up for slow cooking. Skewers are another efficient way to cook over an open fire, particularly for smaller pieces of meat, fish, or vegetables. Choose green, non-toxic sticks like willow or birch, which won't impart bitter flavors and are less likely to catch fire. Skewered food cooks quickly and evenly when rotated frequently, allowing you to monitor doneness and prevent burning. This method is ideal for bushcraft because it requires minimal tools and setup, making it perfect for on-the-go cooking. Stone ovens are a more advanced bushcraft cooking method, involving the creation of an insulated cooking chamber using rocks and earth. To build a basic stone oven, dig a shallow pit and line it with flat stones. Heat these stones with a roaring fire until they are red hot, then remove the embers and place your food, either wrapped in leaves or inside a clay container, directly on the heated rocks. Cover the food with more hot stones and earth, trapping the heat inside the oven. This slow cooking method allows you to bake bread, roast meats, and cook stews, harnessing the heat stored in the rocks for an even, smoky finish. Primitive food preservation, smoking, drying, and salting techniques. Food preservation is critical in survival situations, where a successful hunt or foraging trip can yield more food than can be consumed in a single meal. Preserving food extends its shelf life, providing a reliable source of nutrition during lean times. Ancient techniques like smoking, drying, and salting have been used for centuries to keep food safe and edible without refrigeration. Smoking is a method that uses smoke to dry and flavor food, creating an environment that inhibits bacterial growth. To smoke food, set up a low fire using hardwoods like oak, hickory, or applewood, which burn slowly and impart a rich, aromatic flavor. Hang strips of meat or fish above the fire, allowing the smoke to envelop the food while keeping it away from direct flames. Smoking can take several hours to days, depending on the thickness of the food and the desired level of preservation. The result is a deeply flavored, shelf-stable product that can be eaten as is or rehydrated in water when needed. Drying is one of the oldest and simplest preservation methods, using air, sun, or low heat to remove moisture from food. In the wilderness, drying racks can be constructed from sticks and placed in a sunny, breezy location. Thinly slice meat, fruits, or vegetables and arrange them on the rack, ensuring adequate airflow around each piece. This method can take several days but produces lightweight, easily transportable food that retains much of its nutritional value. Salting preserves food by drawing out moisture through osmosis, creating an inhospitable environment for bacteria. To salt meat or fish, generously rub it with coarse salt and place it in a container, ensuring that every surface is covered. The salt draws out moisture, preserving the food and enhancing its flavor. Salted foods can be stored for long periods, although they often need to be soaked in fresh water before cooking to remove excess salt. These preservation methods are invaluable in the wild, allowing you to make the most of your resources and ensuring that you have access to nutritious food even when fresh ingredients are scarce. Cooking with wild ingredients, recipes and methods for bushcraft meals. Cooking with wild ingredients is both an art and a science, requiring knowledge of local edible plants, animals, and fungi. Using foraged ingredients allows you to create flavorful, nourishing meals directly from the landscape, turning what nature provides into a satisfying feast. Here are some bushcraft cooking methods and recipes that highlight the versatility of wild ingredients. Wild stews and soups are perfect for using a variety of foraged items. A simple pot or a hollowed-out gourd can serve as your cooking vessel. Begin by boiling water and adding a combination of wild greens, such as dandelion leaves or nettles, with root vegetables like wild carrots or burdock. Add protein from small game, fish, or preserved meats to enrich the broth. Stews are highly adaptable, allowing you to adjust ingredients based on what's available, making them a staple of bushcraft cooking. Fish baked in clay is an ancient technique that perfectly showcases the simplicity of bushcraft cooking. Wrap a cleaned fish in large leaves such as those from the burdock or grapevine, then encase the entire bundle in a thick layer of clay. Place the clay-wrapped fish in the coals of your fire and let it bake. The clay insulates the fish, cooking it slowly while keeping it moist. Once cooked, crack open the clay to reveal tender, perfectly steamed fish, infused with subtle smoky flavors. Grilled wild game offers a straightforward way to prepare meats over a campfire. Small game such as rabbit, squirrel, or birds can be cleaned, skewered, and grilled directly over hot coals or an open flame. Basting with rendered fat or juices from the meat keeps it moist during cooking. Seasoning can come from wild herbs like thyme, rosemary, or juniper berries, found in many environments. Wild flatbreads are easy to make and require minimal ingredients, just flour, water, and salt. Flour can be made from ground acorns, cattail roots, or other edible seeds and grains. Mix with water to form a dough, flatten into thin rounds and cook on a hot stone or skillet over your fire. These flatbreads are versatile, serving as a base for other ingredients or a hearty side to stews and soups. Safe food handling in the wilderness. Avoiding food poisoning. Safety in food preparation is crucial, especially in the wilderness, where medical help can be far away. Poor food handling can lead to foodborne illnesses, which are not only unpleasant but can also be life-threatening in survival situations. Understanding how to handle food properly helps prevent contamination and ensures that your meals are safe to eat. Always start by washing your hands and utensils with clean water, and if possible, a biodegradable soap. In the absence of soap, ash or sand can be used to scrub away dirt and bacteria. When handling raw meat, avoid cross-contamination by keeping it separate from other ingredients, particularly those that won't be cooked further, such as wild greens or fruits. Cook all meats thoroughly to kill harmful bacteria and parasites. Meat should be cooked to an internal temperature that ensures it is no longer pink, juices run clear, and it's hot all the way through. This is particularly important with wild game, which may carry diseases not present in commercially raised animals. Be mindful of the freshness of your ingredients, particularly fish and wild game. If something smells off, looks discolored, or has an unusual texture, it's best to discard it rather than risk illness. When foraging for plants and fungi, ensure you are confident in their identification. Many toxic lookalikes can cause serious health issues. Storing food in the wilderness also requires careful consideration. Keep food elevated and away from your sleeping area to avoid attracting wildlife. Use natural refrigeration methods like submerging containers in cold streams to keep perishable items fresh for longer. Preserved food should be stored in airtight containers or wrapped tightly to keep out moisture and pests. By following these basic principles of food safety, you can enjoy the rich experience of bushcraft cooking without the added worry of foodborne illness, turning your outdoor adventures into not just a test of survival, but a culinary journey. Bushcraft cooking is an immersive experience that goes beyond merely filling your stomach. It's about reconnecting with the land, understanding ancient techniques, and appreciating the bounty that nature provides. Whether you're cooking over an open fire, preserving food for future use, or experimenting with wild ingredients, each meal becomes a testament to human resilience and adaptability. With the skills outlined in this chapter, you'll be equipped to cook confidently in any wilderness setting, turning the act of survival into a celebration of nature's resources. Chapter 9. Wilderness First Aid, Handling Emergencies in the Field. When you're in the wilderness, far from the immediate reach of medical professionals, knowing how to handle emergencies is a critical skill that can make the difference between life and death. Wilderness first aid goes beyond standard first aid knowledge, emphasizing the need for improvisation, quick decision-making, and the use of available resources. This chapter covers essential first aid skills for common injuries like cuts, burns, and blisters, emergency care techniques for more severe conditions such as fractures, sprains, and hypothermia, and how to use plants and herbs as natural remedies. We will also guide you through creating a bushcraft first aid kit, highlighting both essential items and DIY solutions to help you prepare for medical emergencies in the field. Basic first aid skills: cuts, burns, and blisters. Cuts, burns, and blisters are among the most common injuries in the wilderness, and knowing how to treat them promptly can prevent complications such as infections. These seemingly minor injuries can escalate quickly in a survival situation, making effective first aid techniques crucial. Cuts and lacerations can occur easily in the wild, whether from handling tools, moving through dense vegetation, or dealing with sharp rocks. The first step in treating a cut is to stop the bleeding by applying direct pressure with a clean cloth, bandage, or even a piece of clothing if nothing else is available. Once the bleeding is controlled, cleanse the wound thoroughly with clean water to remove dirt and debris, reducing the risk of infection. If antiseptics like alcohol wipes or iodine are available, use them to disinfect the wound. If not, boiling water can be used as a makeshift sterilizer. After cleaning, cover the wound with a sterile bandage or, in a pinch, clean cloth, securing it with tape or strips of fabric. Burns from open fires, hot cooking tools, or prolonged exposure to the sun are also frequent hazards in the wilderness. The primary treatment for burns is cooling the affected area with cool, not cold, water for at least 10 minutes to reduce pain and tissue damage. Do not apply ice directly as this can worsen the injury. Once the burn is cooled, cover it with a clean, non-stick dressing. Avoid applying creams or ointments unless you have access to a specialized burn treatment, as many substances can trap heat or introduce bacteria. Blisters are painful, fluid-filled bubbles that form on the skin due to friction, commonly caused by poorly fitting footwear or long hikes. To prevent blisters, wear well-fitted boots and keep your feet dry with proper socks. If a blister forms, resist the urge to pop it, as this increases the risk of infection. Instead, cover it with a moleskin pad or improvise with soft cloth or leaves that won't irritate the skin. If a blister does burst, clean it thoroughly, apply an antiseptic, and cover it with a sterile dressing to protect against further irritation. Emergency care, handling breaks, sprains, and hypothermia. More serious injuries like fractures, sprains, and hypothermia require immediate and careful attention. While these conditions can be life-altering, proper first aid techniques can stabilize the patient and prevent further harm until professional help can be reached. Breaks and fractures are critical injuries that need immediate immobilization to prevent further damage to bones, blood vessels, and surrounding tissue. If a fracture is suspected, do not attempt to realign the bone unless it's a matter of life or death. Instead, create a splint using sticks, branches, or any rigid material available, securing it with cloth, cordage, or strips of clothing to keep the injured area immobile. Apply padding between the splint and the skin to avoid pressure points. If there is significant swelling, elevate the injured limb if possible, and keep the person as still as possible until evacuation is an option. Sprains and strains are common in uneven or rugged terrain and usually involve injuries to ligaments and muscles. The Rice method, rest, ice, compression, elevation, is effective for managing these injuries. In the wilderness, ice might not be available, but cold water or a wet cloth can provide some relief. Wrap the injured area with an elastic bandage or cloth to reduce swelling, and elevate it to minimize blood flow. Rest is crucial, so limit movement as much as possible to prevent worsening the injury. Hypothermia occurs when the body loses heat faster than it can produce, leading to dangerously low body temperatures. It's a severe condition that requires immediate action. Symptoms include uncontrollable shivering, slurred speech, and confusion. To treat hypothermia, get the person out of the cold, remove wet clothing, and replace it with dry, warm layers. Insulate the person from the ground using a sleeping pad, leaves, or even clothing, and provide warm, sweet drinks if they are conscious. If a fire is available, use it to gradually warm the individual, but avoid direct contact with extreme heat, as this can cause shock. Natural remedies, using plants and herbs for first aid. Nature provides an abundance of resources that can be used to treat minor ailments and support healing. Many plants have medicinal properties that can serve as natural remedies for common injuries when conventional medical supplies are unavailable. Yarrow is a powerful natural antiseptic with anti-inflammatory properties, making it ideal for treating cuts and wounds. The leaves can be crushed and applied directly to a wound to help stop bleeding and reduce the risk of infection. Yarrow can also be used to make a poultice or tea that supports wound healing and reduces inflammation. Plantain is a common wild herb with potent healing properties. It's known for its ability to draw out toxins and promote tissue repair, making it an excellent remedy for insect bites, stings, and minor cuts. Crush fresh plantain leaves to release their juices and apply them to the affected area as a poultice. Plantain can also be chewed and applied directly to the skin for immediate relief. Willow bark contains salicin, a natural compound similar to aspirin, which can be used to alleviate pain and reduce fever. To use willow bark, strip the bark from young twigs, boil it in water, and drink the resulting tea. This remedy is effective for headaches, muscle pain, and inflammation. Garlic has strong antimicrobial properties that make it a useful natural antibiotic. It can be crushed and applied directly to wounds to help prevent infection or consumed to boost the immune system. However, be cautious when applying garlic to the skin as it can cause irritation if left on too long. While natural remedies can be effective, it's important to identify plants correctly and understand their potential effects. Misidentifying a plant can lead to harmful reactions, so always consult a reliable field guide or expert when foraging for medicinal plants. Creating a bushcraft first aid kit, essentials and DIY solutions. A well-prepared first aid kit is indispensable in any wilderness setting. While pre-made kits are convenient, crafting your own bushcraft first aid kit tailored to your specific needs and environment can be even more effective. Your kit should include essential items for treating common injuries, as well as supplies that can be used in various improvisational ways. Bandages and dressings are fundamental components of any first aid kit. Include a variety of sizes of sterile gauze pads, adhesive bandages, and medical tape. These can be used to dress wounds, control bleeding, and secure splints. For a bushcraft solution, use clean cloth, plant leaves, or even moss to pad and cover injuries. Antiseptics like alcohol wipes, iodine, or hydrogen peroxide are essential for cleaning wounds and preventing infection. If these aren't available, boiling water can serve as an emergency disinfectant. Adding natural antiseptics like crushed yarrow or plantain to your kit provides additional options for cleaning and dressing wounds. Splints and supports can be fashioned from available materials like sticks, cardboard, or even rolled-up clothing. Include elastic bandages or duct tape in your kit, as they are incredibly versatile for creating makeshift splints, compression wraps, or securing bandages. Tweezers, scissors, and safety pins are small but vital tools for removing splinters, cutting bandages, and making adjustments to your improvised medical gear. Multi-tools with these features can save space and provide additional survival functions. Pain relief medications such as ibuprofen or acetaminophen help manage pain, reduce fever, and minimize inflammation. If conventional medicine isn't available, willow bark or other pain-relieving herbs can serve as a substitute. Emergency blanket or bivy bag is crucial for preventing hypothermia and can be used to treat shock. These lightweight items help retain body heat and provide shelter in extreme conditions. Duct tape is a multipurpose item that can be used for everything from securing bandages and splints to waterproofing gear. Its adhesive properties make it an invaluable part of your first aid kit. Crafting a bushcraft first aid kit involves balancing essentials with the ability to improvise using natural and found materials. Regularly check your kit to ensure that all supplies are in good condition and replenish used items immediately after each outing. Wilderness first aid is an essential skill that empowers you to handle medical emergencies when professional help is out of reach. From treating minor cuts to managing severe injuries and using natural remedies, knowing how to respond to medical situations in the wild can save lives. Creating a well-equipped first aid kit, paired with the knowledge of how to use available resources, ensures that you are prepared to face any challenge the wilderness presents. The skills learned in this chapter are not just about treating injuries, they're about building resilience, confidence, and self-reliance in the most unpredictable environments. Chapter 10. Adapting to challenges, dealing with weather, wildlife, and more. Survival in the wilderness isn't just about having the right skills or gear. It's about adapting to the challenges that nature throws your way. Whether you're facing extreme weather, navigating encounters with wildlife, or struggling to maintain a positive mindset, each challenge requires a different approach. This chapter explores practical survival tips for dealing with harsh weather conditions like intense heat, cold, rain, and wind. We'll also look at strategies for safely managing encounters with potentially dangerous wildlife, such as bears and snakes, and discuss the importance of psychological resilience when confronted with adversity. Finally, we'll cover how to adapt your bushcraft skills to various environments, including forests, mountains, and deserts, ensuring you're prepared no matter where your journey takes you. Coping with extreme weather, heat, cold, rain, and wind survival tips. Weather can be one of the most unpredictable and life-threatening aspects of wilderness survival. Understanding how to cope with extreme conditions, whether it's searing heat, biting cold, torrential rain, or relentless wind, is essential for staying safe and comfortable in the wild. Heat survival involves managing your body temperature and preventing dehydration. In hot environments, the risk of heat exhaustion and heat stroke is high, especially during physical exertion. To stay cool, wear lightweight, loose-fitting clothing in light colors that reflect sunlight. Cover your head with a hat or cloth to protect against direct sun exposure, and avoid strenuous activities during the hottest parts of the day. Hydration is crucial, so drink water frequently and supplement with electrolytes if available. Seek shade whenever possible and create it using tarps, branches, or any materials on hand to reduce your exposure to the sun. Cold weather survival demands effective insulation and the ability to maintain body heat. Hypothermia is a major risk, so dressing in layers is key to regulating your body temperature. Start with a moisture-wicking base layer to keep sweat off your skin, add insulating layers like wool or fleece, and top with a waterproof and windproof outer shell. Avoid cotton, as it retains moisture and loses its insulating properties when wet. In cold conditions, keep moving to generate heat, but pace yourself to prevent excessive sweating. Building a fire is vital not only for warmth but also for cooking and signaling. Insulate your shelter with natural materials like leaves, pine needles, or snow to trap body heat and keep out cold air. Rain and wet conditions present challenges such as hypothermia, even in mild temperatures, as wet clothing loses its ability to retain heat. To stay dry, wear waterproof clothing and construct a rain-resistant shelter using tarps, plastic sheeting, or natural materials like large leaves. Keep your gear protected by storing it in waterproof bags or wrapping it in plastic. When building a fire in wet conditions, seek out dry tinder from inside logs, under rocks, or peel off bark to find dry inner layers. Collect rainwater in containers or use large leaves to channel it into storage vessels, providing a clean and reliable water source. Windy conditions can strip away body heat, even in mild temperatures, and make fire starting a challenge. Set up your shelter in natural windbreaks like dense trees, rock outcrops, or valleys to reduce exposure. Construct wind-resistant structures with low profiles and secure them firmly to withstand strong gusts. When starting a fire, create a windbreak with rocks, logs, or a trench, shielding the flames and allowing you to maintain a stable fire. In high winds, prioritize securing your gear and keeping essential items close to prevent them from blowing away. Dealing with wildlife, bears, snakes, and other potential threats. Wildlife encounters are a natural part of being in the wilderness, but they can be dangerous if not managed correctly. Understanding animal behavior and knowing how to react can prevent potentially deadly situations with bears, snakes, and other wildlife. Bears are powerful animals that can be unpredictable, especially when surprised or protecting their young. To avoid bear encounters, make noise as you move through bear country to alert them of your presence, giving them the chance to avoid you. Store food away from your campsite, ideally hanging it at least 10 feet off the ground and 4 feet from tree trunks to keep it out of reach. In the event of a bear encounter, remain calm and avoid sudden movements. Identify yourself by speaking calmly and slowly waving your arms. Do not run, this can trigger a chase response. If a bear charges, stand your ground. Most charges are bluffs. Use bear spray if available, aiming low as the bear approaches. Snakes are another common threat, particularly in warm climates. Most snake bites occur when a snake is accidentally stepped on or provoked, so always watch where you step, especially in tall grass, rocky areas, or around logs. Use a stick to probe ahead of you when moving through thick underbrush. If you encounter a snake, back away slowly and give it plenty of space. Most snakes will not chase humans and will leave if given the opportunity. In the event of a snake bite, stay calm and immobilize the affected area to slow the spread of venom. Avoid cutting the wound or attempting to suck out venom. Instead, seek medical help as quickly as possible. Other wildlife, such as large cats, wild boars, and insects, also pose threats. With large predators like mountain lions, make yourself appear larger by raising your arms or holding up your jacket. Never turn your back or run. Instead, back away slowly while maintaining eye contact. For wild boars, climb a tree or place a barrier between you and the animal if it becomes aggressive. Insect bites and stings, while often less immediately threatening, can still cause severe allergic reactions or infections. Use protective clothing, insect repellents, and regularly check your body for ticks or bites, treating them promptly. Psychological survival, staying positive and focused in the wild. Mental resilience is just as important as physical preparedness in the wilderness. Isolation, fear, and the stress of survival can take a heavy toll on your psychological state, making it harder to think clearly and make good decisions. Developing mental toughness and maintaining a positive mindset are critical components of survival. Staying positive begins with maintaining a sense of purpose. Set small, achievable goals each day, such as gathering firewood, purifying water, or improving your shelter. These tasks provide structure and a sense of accomplishment, keeping your mind focused on the present. Practice gratitude by reflecting on what's going well, whether it's the warmth of your fire, a successful foraging session, or simply being safe for another night. Managing fear and anxiety involves staying mindful of your surroundings and breathing techniques to keep calm. When anxiety strikes, take deep, controlled breaths to steady your nerves and slow your heart rate. Break down overwhelming tasks into smaller steps, focusing on immediate needs like shelter, water, and warmth. Remind yourself that each challenge can be overcome with patience and perseverance. Visualizing success can also help maintain motivation. Picture yourself successfully navigating back to safety, reuniting with loved ones, or enjoying a hot meal. These visualizations reinforce your will to survive and remind you why each small step is worth the effort. Social connection is crucial even when alone. Talk to yourself positively, keep a journal, or focus on memories of loved ones to maintain a sense of connection and purpose. If you are in a group, maintain open communication, share tasks, and support one another through challenges. A positive group dynamic can be a powerful force in maintaining morale. Adapting bushcraft skills for different environments: forests, mountains, and deserts. Each environment presents unique challenges that require adapting your bushcraft skills to survive. Whether in dense forests, rugged mountains, or arid deserts, understanding how to tailor your approach is key to thriving in these diverse landscapes. Forests offer abundant resources such as wood, water, and wildlife, but dense vegetation can make navigation difficult. In forests, focus on using available wood for building sturdy shelters and tools. Learn to identify edible plants and mushrooms, but be cautious of toxic species that are common in woodland areas. Use natural landmarks like streams, ridges, or distinct trees to orient yourself, and be mindful of how quickly weather can change under the forest canopy. Mountains are harsh environments where weather can shift rapidly, temperatures drop, and the terrain is often steep and unstable. In the mountains, altitude poses a risk of hypothermia and altitude sickness, so acclimatize slowly and dress in layers. Use rock formations and snow to create windbreaks and insulated shelters, and be prepared to melt snow for water when other sources are frozen or scarce. Navigation is key. Use the sun, ridgelines, and valleys to guide your path, but avoid high, exposed areas during storms. Deserts are defined by extreme temperatures, scarce water, and limited shelter options. In desert survival, conserving water is critical. Avoid traveling during the heat of the day and instead move at dawn, dusk, or night when temperatures are cooler. Seek shade wherever possible, and use natural formations like rocks or vegetation to create shelter from the sun. Learn to identify and use desert plants like cacti for hydration, but understand the risks involved, as not all cacti are safe to consume. Focus on staying covered with light, breathable clothing to prevent sunburn and dehydration. Each environment demands flexibility and a willingness to adapt your skills to suit the specific challenges you face. By observing the landscape, understanding local resources, and being prepared to adjust your approach, you can overcome the obstacles each environment presents. Conclusion: adapting to challenges in the wilderness is about more than just survival. It's about understanding the environment and responding with confidence and ingenuity. Whether dealing with extreme weather, dangerous wildlife, or the psychological hurdles of isolation, each obstacle tests your resilience and adaptability. By mastering the skills outlined in this chapter, you'll be equipped to handle whatever nature throws your way, turning potential threats into manageable challenges and ensuring your safety and well-being in any situation. Final thoughts: the rewards of self-reliance and wilderness wisdom. Embracing the bushcraft lifestyle offers rewards that go beyond the practical skills of survival. It instills a sense of independence, resilience, and adaptability that can positively influence every aspect of your life. The self-reliance gained from mastering bushcraft skills empowers you to face challenges with confidence, knowing that you have the knowledge and resourcefulness to overcome them. Beyond practical benefits, bushcraft deepens your connection to the natural world, reminding you of the rhythms of nature and the importance of living sustainably. Each skill you learn, whether it's foraging for wild edibles, crafting tools from natural materials, or navigating by the stars, reconnects you with the heritage of our ancestors and the timeless wisdom of living in harmony with the earth. Finally, bushcraft teaches valuable life lessons about patience, perseverance, and the power of observation. It encourages you to slow down, pay attention, and engage fully with your surroundings. These lessons translate into everyday life, fostering mindfulness and a sense of fulfillment that comes from working with your hands, solving problems creatively, and living more intentionally. Bushcraft is not just a set of skills, it's a mindset, a community, and a way of life that offers endless opportunities for growth, exploration, and connection. By embracing this lifestyle, you not only equip yourself to survive in the wilderness but also enrich your everyday life with the principles of self-reliance, resilience, and a deep respect for the natural world.